Grocery prices are high. We are all feeling it in our wallets. People don't just complain about grocery prices today, they're shocked. You walk in, scan a few items, and the total hits you like a tax. But here's the truth that nobody says out loud. Groceries aren't expensive because prices randomly rose. They're expensive because the whole system let them rise. And the outcome benefits almost everyone except you. Let's break down why that's not just inflation. It's modern economics functioning exactly as designed. Here is what the data actually shows. Recent government data shows the official consumer price index for food at home, grocery prices, rose about 2.4% year over year as of December 2025. That doesn't feel huge until you realize this. Prices have been climbing for years. Today's food costs are about 30% higher than early 2020. Not a blip, a trend. So what we're really dealing with is a multi-year inflation track, not a single shock. So why does it feel worse now? Here's the kicker. Wages haven't kept up with food price increases. Average grocery bills are rising faster than the paycheck most people bring home. Even when headline inflation cools, grocery prices stay stubbornly high. That's because food prices don't just follow average inflation. They follow a different set of incentives inside the grocery ecosystem. Here is big picture factors, supply and money. Let's be clear, there are real macro forces at play. Climate and weather events make crops more expensive. Supply chain disruptions ripple through global logistics. Fossil fuel costs increase input and transport costs across the system, but those are background conditions, not the full story. The systemic unpacking, incentives over simplistic explanations. Here's where most explanations fall short. They treat grocery prices like a natural disaster, something out of your control that just happens. But the real drivers are systemic, such as complex supply chains that amplify shocks, market incentives that let businesses raise prices, wages stuck or stagnant while cost increases accumulate, energy inputs tied to fossil fuel volatility, a cost layer almost nobody thinks about in the aisle. For example, the cost of producing, processing, packaging, and delivering food is deeply tied to oil and natural gas prices. When those move, food costs move, not because of accidents, but because fossil fuels are embedded in every step of the food system. That's a payoff structure. You're not watching random costs. You're watching an incentive chain. Who really benefits? Now, the part most people don't want to hear. Farm prices may rise, but bigger beneficiaries are often downstream. They are the processors, transport companies, supermarkets, and middlemen, entities that can pass through or even mark up prices without losing customers. Sales data even shows grocery industry sales have jumped billions, not because people buy more, but because prices are higher. Meanwhile, shoppers buy less food because higher prices reduce consumption volume, a real affordability crisis for millions. This isn't one cause, it's a system. Look at the structure. Supply constraints from weather and global events, fossil fuel-dependent production, high logistics costs, wage stagnation, corporate pricing strategies, long and opaque supply chains, retail markups. None of these individually fully explain today's prices, but together they show one thing. Prices rose not because of a single malfunction, but because multiple incentives align to make it profitable for the system to tolerate high prices. Now, who loses? Let's be honest. Middle-income households, lower-income families, people on fixed incomes, gig workers, anyone whose food budget is most of their budget. For them, grocery price increases are not a nuisance. They're a hard cut in living standards. Who benefits from these incentives? Now look at it from a systems perspective. Companies that can pass costs on, investors focused on margins, logistics providers making money on transportation volatility, retail chains that consolidate buying power, commodity traders hedging energy costs. None of these entities suffer when prices rise. Many of them benefit. This is not accident. This is aligned incentives. So don't tell me groceries are expensive because of supply chain chaos, like it was an unpredictable thunderstorm. Groceries are expensive because the economy, policy, and markets are structured so that when costs rise, you pay, and others don't. The system isn't broken, it's rigged, and the grocery aisle is just one of the places you can see it clearly. Think about that next time you are grocery shopping.